Hey, my name is Martina, and I am going to show you a game that is super easy and low prep to play with anything that has any memory work that has a sequence. So for example, the math facts have a sequence. You have 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 3, etc. The timeline cards have a sequence. There's a correct order that they go in. You could also play this game with anything that has matching. So for example, with Latin week 1, genitive, possessive, that's a match that goes together. So you could play it with that as well. And all you need to do is you need to prep a set of cards, of game cards, and the cards need to be have writing on one side, and you cannot see the writing through the other side. And the back side of them should all be the same. So for example, these are index cards. So they are blank on this side. They are all exactly the same on one side. And on the other side, I wrote, not with a Sharpie because Sharpie shows through, the math facts. So blank, all blank on one side, writing on the other side. For timeline cards, a really easy thing that you can do so you don't have to, if you want to use this with timeline, but you don't want to write out all the things, you can take your CC timeline cards, which are double-sided, and they are not, the backs of them are all different. So that wouldn't work, but you can just put a piece of paper. I put cardstock, like darker color cardstock, in a page protector, and then you can slip your timeline card in there. So now you can use these page protectors face down, and then your timeline cards would be there. So you could use these as your activity. Let me show you how this activity works. So you're going to start by laying out all your cards in a grid. I am going to show you an example with the math facts. So usually you would have 15 because there are 15 math facts in each set. However, just for this to be a faster demo, I'm only doing 6. So the goal is kids are going to need to try and flip over 2 cards at a time. And it's a little bit like memory. They're trying to get the first 2 facts in the sequence, and then after they get those 2, then they need to get the next 2 and the next 2. Cards can only be flipped over 2 at a time, and they can only stay flipped over if there are 2 that are, once the 2 are complete. So let me show you what I mean. So the first kid will have their turn. They might flip over this one, 3 times 5. We're looking for 3 times 1 because that's the first fact in the sequence. They have to flip over 2 things, and then 3 times 1. So this is the correct card, but because both of them, this isn't 3 times 1 and 3 times 2, so we need to flip them back over. So then it's going to be the next kid's turn, and the next kid is going to hopefully remember, oh yeah, 3 times 1 was here. Where do I think 3 times 2 is? No, that's not it. So they have to flip it over. Then the next kid goes, okay, 3 times 1, and then maybe it's this one. Yay. Okay, so now these 2 are good. So we can like set them aside in our sequence. So 3 times 1, 3 times 2. I'm trying to put them where you can see them. So those are good. They're like out. And so now we're looking for the next 2 in sequence, which are 3 times 3 and 3 times 4. I don't think we've seen 3 times 3 yet. You might remember better than me. 3 times 6. Was this 3 times 4? Okay, yeah, so 3 times 4 is there, but I can't keep it because these aren't the next 2. So I'm going to flip them both over. This, I think, was 5. So, yeah, 3 times 3, 3 times 4. Good. Now we got a pair of the next 2. We can add them to the sequence. Next kid's turn, and they would go. So the great thing about this game is that it is a collaborative game. The idea is not that one student is trying to finish faster than any other students. The whole class is working together, and when the whole class finishes flipping over all of the cards in sequence, they win, and you can flip over all the cards and play again, or you can move on to the next activity.